Hey y'all, and welcome to Is This How It Ends? I'm Nels,
I'm so
and we're here to talk about everything and all things. Excuse me, y'all, I spiked my tea, okay? Okay. we, we are gonna get through this though.
so it's gonna be a fun one.
Yes, yes. By the way,
Okay.
so I love your braids.
Thank you.
It looks good. Last time I
Thank
saw you,
you.
they were up in a bun, but I like
Yeah.
them too. Yes. Is it the braids? Shout out to Kendrick Lamar.
Well, I love all of this: the glasses, the lipstick, the little pearls. I
Uh,
love it.
Thank you, girl. Thank you. These some pipe cleaner curls. All right.
Mm.
Because I was out here looking like we jamming. I was giving Bob Marley, girl, just like, could this be love? That's what I was giving. Like give myself a retwist. All right.
All right.
All right, y'all. So let's get into some normal, not so normal ish. All right. So I want to call this We Have So Far to Go. FAR, get it? Federal Acquisition Regulation. All right, I was trying to do a pun here. When I heard about this in these E streets, a song came to mind. Here we go. Mama, is Martha gonna sell us tomorrow? Yes, yes, yes. Yes, y'all. Okay, segregation is making a comeback. On my 2025 bingo card, I never thought that segregation could be making a comeback. Look, y'all, just get ready, okay? First the DEI stuff, now this. Look, so just know when slavery comes back, I'm gonna be in the fields, but I have no skills. What am I gonna do? Like I have house slave skills, but look at child.
Girl, we no. We are not going there. All right.
Yeah, look, it's gonna happen, okay? Just Roe v. Wade got rolled back, so all right, y'all. So, recent changes to the Federal Acquisition Regulation, FAR, have removed explicit prohibitions against segregated facilities in federal contracts. This development follows President Trump's issuance of Executive Order 14173 in January 2025, which revoked prior non discrimination policies established under Executive Order 11246. Subsequently, the General Services Administration issued a memo authorizing deviations from existing FAR provisions to align with the new executive order. So, one significant change in the elimination of the FAR clause titled Prohibition of Segregated Facilities. This clause, in place since the 1960s, mandated that federal contractors must not maintain or provide segregated facilities based on race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, or national origin. So the 1960s isn't that long ago. I
No.
just need people to keep in mind, like, that wasn't that long ago. So its removal means that federal contracts no longer explicitly forbid contractors from having segregated work areas, restrooms, dining facilities, drinking fountains, or transportation. So I don't know if you've been in these E Street Soph.
I
Um,
I did hear that, but I also heard it's for contractors, but the rules still are in place for now
mhm.
at the federal level, at the state level. So for now, right? Like you can't go thinking like, hey, I'm gonna segregate this Starbucks because that ain't gonna happen.
Look, Soph, I think this is just the first rollout. But there's some people that are like, hey, segregation's not so bad. And there's some people that are just kind of like, you know? But I think these things have a slow rollout. I wouldn't put anything past anybody,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. I mean, again, look what happened with Roe v. Wade. So to think that this couldn't happen, but on a business level, would you want to alienate a certain customer base?
Mm.
In one way, it could look like, hey, there would be people that wouldn't be allowed in your facility, and that might draw certain people. But in the other sense, depending on where you are, if you have multicultural, just different kinds of people, then maybe to alienate.
Right. Business is always going to follow the money. Like people keep saying Disney went woke. Disney did not go woke. Disney is following the money. There's an untapped market. Like if you cater to them, they will give you money. So if you have Black princesses, they're going to come flocking to your stuff. If Little Mermaid is Black, hey, that's a whole untapped market. So no one is going woke. They're following the money. That's what they're
true.
doing.
My Little Mermaid was Black until she decided to get with that bum and have a baby. You gonna be Little Mermaid and get with the bum? I think there's going to be segregation, but it's not going to be as obvious as it used to be.
Yeah.
And I prefer my racism overt. However, it's already covert.
You know, we talk about like New York is like a supposedly melting pot, right? Go to any New York City public schools. That is the most segregated system.
Yes,
ever.
yes.
For New York to be as democratic as it is, as progressive as it is, their school systems are so
like Bensonhurst, like there's all kinds of neighborhoods that are mostly ethnically homogenous. Like they're out there. And even I live in Crown Heights, but you know, it's Caribbean and it's also like Orthodox Jewish. And there's definitely a clear like delineation
of course.
between the two. So
Jewish kids don't go to our schools, period. They have their own schools.
they have their own schools, their own hospitals, their own buses. So they don't really interact in that way. But to your point, Soph, in terms of the regulatory change, it's important to note that the federal and state laws, including Civil Rights Act of 1964, continue to prohibit segregation and discrimination. The GSA has emphasized that contractors are still required to comply with all applicable civil rights laws, irrespective of their status as government contractors. It seems more symbolic than anything. But even why would you want that to be a symbol? Like just off the back of just like the DEI rollbacks and now this, and then again, you know, before Roe v. Wade, it's just like all these things are being taken away from marginalized people.
Yeah. And personally, I think this is a psyop. This is divide, distract, and dominate. And psyop, short for psychological operation, is when powerful folks use media, language, and fear to manipulate people into supporting ideas that actually harm them. And this whole people want segregation, this narrative, like it just feels like manipulation, right? With everything Trump is doing, you know, even with this whole federal contractors, even dismantling fair housing protections to prevent racial discrimination. Like this is a top-down operation. It's manipulation. It's their ways to distract us from what's really, really happening.
And you're definitely right about the distraction, Soph. And to that point, right, I think that maybe they thought with this that Black people would be up in arms. But for the most part, just what I've seen on the TikTok, which is a wild place, by the way. TikTok is insane. TikTok, you know, people are just very much like, to the people that look like us are like, all right, this is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to do. I don't know if all these things are being put out there to distract us from what's really going on, if they're doing things to incite certain behaviors in people to then justify why certain things are put in place. But I'm glad that, you know, we're not falling for it. There's supposed to be a march on April 5th. I don't know if it's nationwide. And people that look like us are sitting it out. And I get it. I get it as someone that used to march. First of all, to me, a lot of it is symbolic. and really where we can make a difference is with our dollars. And some of it's happening with Target, with the strike. It's definitely impacted Target. And I know there's supposed to be a strike with Amazon and Walmart as well. I don't know about those other places, but for Target, I know for sure it's happening. But that's where we can do the most damage if we're going to make a stand.
I agree. I hope people recognize it for what it is. Like, it's a distraction. Like, companies are laying off hundreds of thousands.
Yes.
It is collapsing. You know, we have wealth hoarding, the AI takeover. I just pick your apocalypse. There's a lot going on, and I wish people would notice. Like, we have more in common. Like, we think we're so different, but the people who are out to harm us, it's not the immigrants. It's not the person that doesn't look like you. It's those visible people who are slashing Social Security, who are too rich to understand why an 11-year-old is getting the benefits of a deceased parent.
Mm.
It's really sad.
Most of us don't fall within the 1%. So it's like all this stuff that is happening to us. I know there's an appeal when it comes to like ethnicity and sexual orientation. So you maybe appeal to other things, to get people going. But even there's people that voted for Trump that now have regrets. Like, look what's happening to federal jobs. Look what's and it's just like, yo, you thought that you were immune. You thought that it wasn't going to affect you. This man has no idea. This man doesn't know about student loans. This man doesn't know about what it's like to cut corners to survive.
He knows about cutting corners, not to survive, but he knows about cutting corners. But the crazy thing is, if you were to run this again, knowing what they know now, they would do the same thing. His popularity is still up there.
I don't know. So I just think a lot has been.
No, people are so
like the tariffs and everything.
They're so hateful of the other, like that. It blinds them to everything else. That's why I'm like, this is a psyop. Like it's distracting. Like this whole like, I'm gonna kick out all the immigrants. Like I'm just gonna get rid of DEI. Like yeah. Like it's just this is what he has us focusing on. Meanwhile, they're gutting the federal government. It's a takeover.
Yeah, it's just I've been seeing videos about like layoffs and even with like federal workers, which there's always this thing where like federal jobs are hard to lose, but what they're doing now in terms of people coming back, like I saw a video actually this morning where there's people where they want them to come back. They have them come back, but you have to come into work. But for some federal workers, even if there's locations that are closer to them, they're like, no, you have to go to this location, which is an hour and a half. So now you have a 3-hour, sometimes 4-hour like commute for your job. And let's say you're a parent and your schedule has been based around you working from home with your kids. So now it's all fucked up, but it's just all fucked up. And they're doing this on purpose so that people will end up just quitting and they don't have to pay them out.
It's so mean.
It's so mean. It is people's survival. And if they don't have jobs, it's not like, okay, maybe different times where you lost a job, maybe you can get another one. It's not like that anymore.
It's not. It is hard. I saw Bill Gates talking about like, the future is AI. Mm-hmm. Saying that AI it's going to end up replacing a ton of jobs. But he said that's the future and it's going to be great. And he thinks somehow like we're going to benefit. They always say like it's going to be easy. No, it's not going to be easier.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I'm not going to lie. I mean, Chat GPT, that's what I call her. Chat GPT. I mean, she be helping me out a little bit, but at the same time, to just totally take over people's like, what is going to happen when the people are too poor to consume? It's not a long vision in terms of what's going to happen to people if they can't afford certain things.
Well, companies never think beyond like the next quarter. They don't think beyond like how can we get the stock prices to go up next quarter? Like how can we get the maximum amount of money? These CEOs are cyclical. Like they're not there for long term. They're there for 3 to 4 years and they're on to the next thing. They're thinking of the here and the now.
Well, I all think this is a conspiracy to create an underclass to fund the army,
Mm,
signing up for the army and the military like they used to.
that makes sense because you're gutting education. Like,
You're gutting education, you're gutting like just all these programs that help people. And so if you make the army look shiny, like, oh, GI Bill, oh, all this stuff, you can obtain all this stuff, go to school without debt. You're gonna make conditions so bad that people have no other choice but to go in the army. That's what's gonna happen because the military, the enrollment has been low. That's the way I feel. Like you make people so poor to build up a super army. Yeah. It's just a hot mess. It's a hot mess. I will not be marching April 5th. Will you be marching?
I've yet to march anywhere.
I
No, it's sad to say, but I use my dollars.
have marched before. I will not be marching
I
this
haven't
round.
marched. Like, I remember with the whole thing during COVID,
Mhm.
it felt really manufactured. Like the whole,
Look, it was with
it felt like somebody was like really pulling the strings and telling you need to be angry.
it was with a lot of things, honestly. It was just with Floyd in particular. I know there's no such thing as a perfect victim, and so I think it was just a whole like we were all inside, we were all watching things on our TV. And so when this happened, it was just a culmination because there's plenty of Black and brown people that have died at the hands of the police, and why this man in particular, right? And so he's used as this beacon, and then Black Lives Matter, which is weird and defunct or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, all of it, I think, was concocted in a way to mobilize people, but we were only being able to be mobilized under certain circumstances. Like people only cared when you were shut up in your house and you couldn't go anywhere. Otherwise, no one fucking care.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
I remember I had my boss held a meeting and she was like, "How are you feeling?" I'm like, I was like, "Shit, I don't know. Like everyone's angry. Should I be angry?" I guess it was just like a lot of things that were like just amplified. It was like, get angry. You know what I mean? Like, and it's stuff you should be angry about, but it just felt like somebody was pulling the strings and manipulating.
I believe it's certain circumstances that were packaged to elicit certain responses.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even going forward, certain things are put out there to elicit certain responses, to justify certain reactions, right? So let's say if with this whole coming back to the whole FAR situation we just talked about, right? Let's say if Black people were really like up in arms about it. I don't think they expected Black people to react the way that they did about the whole segregation thing. I just feel like certain things are put out there to elicit certain reactions to justify why people should behave a certain way. So if we put certain things out for certain marginalized people, they're going to react. And so then when we react to their reaction, then we're justified in doing so. And so part of it is like, okay, just like chilling. Like, okay, and particularly with, I've been seeing online where Black people saying for April 5th, we're sitting out, which is who believes that we should. I believe that a lot of Black people have put in work, and other marginalized groups have benefited off of our backs, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we want to sit this out, we'll sit this out because I believe that
Mm-hmm.
our struggles and what we work for opens the doors for other people, but sometimes it's not the other way around. I saw it even when I used to march. And it would be about, let's say if we're marching for Breonna Taylor, which there wasn't a specific march for Breonna Taylor, I'm gonna put that out there, but let's just say that was the case, right? And then you see all these other groups like chiming in too. And it's just like, where were you talking about this? Like in the LGBTQ community, there's still misogyny, there's still colorism, there's still all these other things that occur. Imagine if in terms of intersectionality, like there's some people, if you were to do like a Venn diagram, they cover all spaces. What about them? So I just feel like it's good that we're sitting this out, honestly. Like I feel like Black people as a whole have done a lot of work that has opened the doors for other people.
We marched.
Now we've put it out. We've marched enough. I think now the way that we can do it safely, because I've been to these marches and they'll have the police there, you know, and if you a black face among a crowd, like you'll be targeted. So it's good to sit your ass down.
Mm-hmm.
But how we can do safely from our homes is not engage with certain companies and use our dollars to make a difference.
I agree with that. Like you can march all you want, but hit them where it hurts.
Yes, because marching is definitely, it's very much, it's symbolic, right? Because you march and then you go home. And then what? What are we doing afterwards? What's the follow-up?
Yeah.
Shout out to people for April 5th. Good luck to you. I'll be in the comfort of my home. Okay. Yeah. All right. So the next topic in normal, not so normal-ish is I like to call this leave us out of the group chat. So we're almost in April. So in March, a significant security breach occurred when senior officials of the Trump administration inadvertently included Jeff Goldberg, editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, in a Signal group chat discussing highly sensitive military operations against Houthi militants in Yemen. This group, named Houthi PC Small Group, comprised key figures such as Vice President J.D. Vance, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. The inclusion of Goldberg exposed detailed operational plans, including information about targets, weapons to be deployed, and attack sequencing. So yeah, the group chat information that was sent to an actual reporter for The Atlantic.
How do you feel so incompetent? It is not even funny.
Us people that work, okay, just know if you ever have imposter syndrome, I need you to look at this. Just look at how our government is running. Like, you should be on something. There should be a special way to communicate with government officials. Like, it should be encrypted. Like, what's this on a G chat?
It was also set to like delete, right? And you're not supposed to do that. When it comes to any kind of formal government communication, you're supposed to back that up, you know, because if somebody down the line wants to do a FOIA request, you're supposed to back that up, but they don't. They had it to like auto delete. And they're just like blowing it off like it was nothing. Like Fox was like, it's not like Hillary.
And that's another thing, right? With Hillary, like, I think Hillary might have wrote something like, this is my urban translation. I think Hillary was like, bitch, look, you talking about me, ho, look at this. I was like, yes, Helisha, okay, just come through, okay, because it's true. There's some people that have the school of thought that this was done on purpose.
No, I just think they're not that smart. Not that they're not that, I shouldn't say they're not that smart. I'm sure they're smart people, but they're so blasé about it, right? The way Trump picked his cabinet, like it was almost like, you like my tweet. You said I was pretty. That's what it is. But these are the people who he's choosing to be in his cabinet. It's all about loyalty. It doesn't matter like about competence. Okay, competence is like way down there.
Yeah, I mean, I want to know like what chat was this? Was this on WhatsApp?
It's called Signal.
Signal. Okay.
Yeah, it's Signal, and they say governments use it. They don't use it for that purpose. They might use it to say, hey, you should check something out, but they won't use it to hash out war plans. And then the guy, the journalist, like he removed himself from the group chat, and no one thought to like reach out, because you can see when someone removes themselves from a group chat.
Yeah.
No one thought to say like, wants this, and we should do some due. No.
Girl, I'm just look again, y'all. Don't ever think that you have imposter syndrome. No one knows what they're doing from the top down, even in our government. You are going to be all right. If any. So, continuing, the National Security Council acknowledged the authenticity of the messages and initiated an investigation into how Goldberg was mistakenly added. Like, who added him?
The Mike guy, like he added him.
It's a Defense Secretary Hegseth denied that war plans were shared via text, stating nobody was texting war plans.
They said when the bombs would, those are war plans.
I was like, those are war plans, bitch. Despite these denials, Goldberg reported receiving precise information about the planned strike 2 hours before their execution. Girl, bye.
He released the whole text. Like he released the whole chain.
Girl.
I
can't.
And they talking about, like, we want a meritocracy. These people.
Are you kidding, babe? Look.
You ain't getting on merit, okay?
Look, again, you can, removing of DEI, affirmative action, all these things, you think it's going to level the playing field? You think because just plain white people just have it so hard to get somewhere, and now these things are being removed, your incompetence is showing. It's showing. You can't blame it on us. This is you.
No, they just want to.
I can't. Absolutely not. So, to continue, this incident has sparked bipartisan criticism and raised concerns about the administration's handling of classified information. Former national security officials expressed shock, highlighting the unprecedented nature of using a non-secure platform like Signal for such discussions. The breach has led to calls for accountability and a reevaluation of communication protocols within the highest level of government. There was no testing of this. Like, to me, maybe I'm thinking too highly of certain things, but there should be a double confirmation of who you add to the chat. Like, are you sure? Because you can add people by accident. Are you sure? Like, as someone who at my job has been working on software just for like my job and what we do, like there's certain protocols and things that we look for. And so for these people not to think about things like API, things about like, there's no reason why, if you were thinking about who could possibly, like, you have to think about all the things that other people don't think about with classified information.
They're not serious about their job.
You're not serious.
Yeah, and no one's going to lose their job over this.
No, and someone should. Multiple people should.
Yeah.
You don't see who's in your group chat? So we have a group chat. Who have we invited accidentally to the banned group chat?
Oh my God.
On WhatsApp.
I
mean, we don't talk about anything crazy there. But still.
But imagine someone leaves your group chat. I'm like, yo, how did he get in here?
I'd be like, where'd you go? Like, I want to know.
And this is what they do. This is just an incident that we've been made aware of. Like, what else have they done on Signal? Because the thing is, a lot of this stuff we should have a record of it. So what else were they discussing on Signal? Because you could auto delete all that stuff and it's gone.
But so here's my thing though. I mean, maybe I have a certain vision of things, but stuff like war plans, shouldn't those things be talked about in person? What I feel like a group chat is very casual.
It's very casual, like
because people hack things, and so like, wouldn't you want to do something in person when you're talking about things of this nature?
Usually, if you have that kind of clearance, right, there are channels that you can use to discuss these things. So what I'm guessing is they were probably like on the go, right? Like, who knows? Maybe somebody was at a golf course. Maybe somebody was, on a bender, like, at a bar somewhere. Who knows where they were? Okay. Like, They're just doing this on the go.
I just can't think of like things that impact the lives of so many people being so casually dealt with. You know, we all have our jobs, right? And sometimes we do, like, I've answered stuff like on my phone, but I don't have millions of people, their lives depending on my decisions. And so I definitely like, for something like war being talked about so casually, like, oh, push the red button and let me go golf on the I just don't understand.
It just shows the type of people they are.
Yeah.
These are the people who are in charge. These are our defense folks.
I don't feel safe at all. It's a ass mess. I don't feel safe. I never felt safe, but now I really don't feel safe.
Yeah, they're losing allies, and then you have these jokers who are in group chats talking about military plans.
Yeah, girl. All right. So for my last normal, not so normal-ish. So y'all, I like to call this one Never Would Have Paid It. Never would have paid it without you. Look here, okay? I'm very much a Marvin Sapp fan. That is the one gospel song for sure that'll make me cry all of the time. So shout outs, but no shout outs to Marvin Sapp. So this was actually a video that resurfaced. This actually happened in July 2024 during the 109th Pentecostal Assemblies of the World Convention in Baltimore, Maryland. Gospel singer and pastor Marvin Sapp led a fundraising segment that has since garnered significant attention. He encouraged a congregation of approximately 1,000 attendees to each contribute $20, aiming to raise $40,000 for the conference. Sapp also requested that church leaders donate $100, emphasizing the importance of collective financial support for the event. During this appeal, Sapp instructed the ushers to close the doors, a directive that led to widespread criticism and allegations that he was coercing the congregation into donating by preventing them from leaving. So have you heard about this story?
I don't know who that guy is.
Oh, you never heard the song Never Would Have Made It Without You. I would have lost it all.
Maybe
No?
I have heard it.
You have heard it, so if you black, you've heard it.
Are you trying to say I'm girl?
You black, so but you know. All black people. I don't care. You've heard. You know this.
Maybe it's a gospel song.
It's a hold on. All right. You know what? We're gonna do this right now.
Okay, let's play the song.
Play the song, okay? Because
my card revoked. All right.
Okay. No, your card. I mean, I'll accept your card, but I don't know about anywhere else. Hold on. For real, song?
For real.
Oh wow!
Never heard it.
This is a pretty prominent like gospel song. Even if you don't know gospel, you know this song.
I don't listen to gospel music.
I don't care where you from. A black people from diaspora know the song.
Well, I do not know that song. All right.
So we gonna have to have a little tutorial. All right. So Marvin Sapp, he is very known for this song. He's a gospel singer. I guess he's also a pastor too. So basically, he locked the doors so bitches can donate. Okay. He was like telling the ushers to lock the doors. Look here, Marvin Sapp. I'm sure you had $40,000 to give. But to tell people that are coming for guidance, they're coming for help, who knows? Maybe that last $20 was spent to put gas in the car to come over there to get some guidance.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to lock the doors until people give you money? Boy, bye. So, in response to the backlash, Sapp, with two P's, clarified that his intention was not to hold anyone hostage, but to minimize distractions during the offering, which he described as a quote unquote sacred exchange. He explained that movement during this time could be disruptive and potentially risky for both the congregation and those handling the collected funds. Sapp emphasized that his directive was aimed at creating a safe and reverent environment aligning with biblical principles of stewardship and accountability. Absolutely not. Okay? Absolutely not, ho.
The way they just throw these words together and just be like,
It's a word salad. You know, narcissists are known for these freaking word salads. Absolutely not, sir. You were already talking about people. You had this many people. I saw the video. I have this many people here. If you each donated $20, and then telling people to lock the doors until people donate.
first of all,
Absolutely not. In this economy,
who listened to that man?
now, Christians, y'all gonna have to chime in, all right? Because this is what I don't understand. In terms of tithing or whatever, you're supposed to give 10% of what you make towards the church, right? Again, Christians, correct me if I'm wrong. You give 10%. But what about, especially during these times, can I bank on getting that 10%? Like if I'm in need, if I need to cover my rent, if I need food, if I need money for gas or transportation or whatever. And then if people are reluctant to give, this in 2024, so it wasn't that long ago. If people are reluctant to give during these times, there's a reason why, and who knows? Was this event ticketed? I'm sure since he was there, this event was ticketed. So many people already paid to come to this event. And then now you got to give more? Absolutely not. Are there funds set aside? And some churches do have this. I know this for a fact. But these mega churches do have funds set aside for people that may need help, that may need a loan right away. Yeah. I'm actually really disgusted by this. You physically locking people in to get donations?
But not even just the locking people in. That's horrible. I mean, there are these like mega churches, all these churches that they're constantly asking and they're telling them, if you give God your last dollar, he'll bless you 10 times over. Like there are people manipulating into giving all this money to the church.
Look, girl, I went to a church in Texas. This was a long time ago in my younger youth. It was called Brentwood Baptist Church. This was in Texas. So when I went to visit my auntie in Texas, and I heard that Beyonce used to go to that church, but then they kind of banished her because they said she dressed like a hope. But this church had a McDonald's. This church had a gym. This church had a computer center. And I was like, yes, that's dope in terms of like a community. Like, is it a resource for all of the community? Is it for those that only give? I don't know. But if you have money to do all of this, then is there a fund for people that are in need? Because people will give their last to the church.
Well, and you have these pastors going around in these private jets.
Yes. No shout outs to Creflo Dollar.
What a name. Like, this is how I know, right? I know this is a simulation for his name.
They are called prosperity pastors. And it's just like, prosperity for who? Because people are really struggling out here. So you mean that I need to pay for salvation of my soul? What's the price? $20? If I give this $20, then the next time it's $20?
It's like medieval times when, like, wealthy people paid the Pope.
Yeah, even with with Protestantism, if I'm saying the correct Protestants, right? Mm-hmm. With Luther's 95 Thesis, used to be able to pay for indulgences back in the day in the Catholic Church. So it's like, okay, I know I'm gonna be doing all this sinning. Let me pay $50 to get me like 5 cents. Bitch, how does that work in real life? And then what is the price point? What is the sin menu? Girl, bye. Absolutely not.
The sin menu.
Back in the day when I used to have my little, edible delivery person, okay? and there was a menu. Okay, so I knew what was up, but back in the day, it was a STEM menu. Where is the morality in that? There's enough money to buy off the horrible things that you do to people, and so you pay $50 and you can like steal from someone. It's to Luther and his 95 theses pinned on the doors of these Catholics that was doing all this ish, okay? Because it was some bull, okay? Religion as a whole, I have issues with. But you shouldn't have to pay for the salvation of your soul. So Marvin Sapp, I love this song, okay? It makes me cry on the 2 train when I listen to it. However, I don't know anymore because you're trying to sap the money out of people. That these are hard times, sir. It was hard times in 2024 too. Sapping money out of people that are trying to seek salvation and want to hear your voice, that I'm sure paid money, whether it was a toll, whether it was gas, to come see your ass. And then you want to lock them in a room to get more money. Salvation shouldn't cost so much.
No.
That's the way I see it.
Agreed, girl. Agreed.
Yes. But that is it for normal, not so normal-ish. I wanted to talk about Cardi B and Megan and Jonathan being married, but it is what it is. I'm sure there'll be more coming up with that.
I don't want to talk about.
So for the educational, knowledgeable portion of this duo here, okay? Because I'm only here for the purgatory.
I like to add a little tech into whatever we're talking about.
Yes, so if you got to bring us back.
While the world is burning, these robots are making plans and we helping them. Last time we spoke, I said that humans are unserious about survival.
Mm-hmm.
I stand by that. Mainly scientists. I was reading this article in Pop Sci, and it talks about how scientists have officially grafted lab-grown human brain tissue, or organoid, as they're calling it, onto a computer chip to teach robots how to graft things. So
no. Okay, hold on. So rewind. So they're taking tissues from human brain.
It's lab grown, so technically it's not the actual human brain. It's lab grown, so it acts like a human brain. It's a tiny human brain, and they slap it on a chip, and they tell the robot, "Hey, go and grab a can of soda," because
absolutely not. No.
My first thought was like, this is how the cyborg uprising starts. Like, did we not see Terminator? But they promised that that's not what this is. And the system, this is how ridiculous it is. They're calling it MetaBot. So the BOC stands for Open Source Brain on Chip.
Nope.
The BOC stands for Brain on Chip.
Oh, BOC, built. Absolutely not.
So I'm going to say it again. Open Source Brain on Chip Intelligent Complex Information Interaction System. Super catchy. And like the open source piece is what scares me, because if someone knows how to grow like a 3D stem cell organoid or brain, and you have a couple of electroid chips lying around, I mean, you could create your own metabot. This is so crazy to me, because we talked about they're trying to figure out ways that humans could live forever. Part of that is replacing parts of the brain and then creating these sentient human clone bodies that you could plop these new brains onto, because the body's going to fall apart, right? Even if the brain is still good. I think we're looking at the next stage of human evolution, which is not humans. And they say it could do all these great things for people, like especially when it comes to like these brain implants or whatever. I'm not anti-science. I'm really not. Who's going to afford all of this great stuff that we're creating, right?
Yes. And then whose brain are we taking to put on the chip? Okay.
Well, it's lab grown, so technically it's no one's brain. We're making robots
the norm,
more and more human-like. Because even like their movements, they're looking at ways to make robot movements more fluid. Even their facial expression, they're finding ways to make expressions look more human-like. In 20 years, I'm interested in see what this looks like.
But to me, like, what is the point when we have, like, you're gonna have a whole bunch of humans that don't have jobs. So again, like, who's going to be able to pay for these robots?
We'll have all these leisure time. Like, I need to be able to afford my rent, though.
This doesn't make sense to me. And this is
Are you going to give us universal income? Because if you're going to give universal income, then I can get behind this.
Yeah, but
Then
so this is why you can't have people in power in certain areas that haven't had certain life experiences, because you have people like Elon Musk and Donald Trump or whatever, like, creating all these things because they don't know what it's like to be impacted by these things. So they don't understand how it's going to affect other people. But if you have it so other people don't have jobs to buy these things, and what is going to be the price point for these things, these robots? Like, I just
So real quick, remember we talk about like brain implants and all the great things they could do with, like, for people who suffer from seizures. There was a woman in Australia, right? She had this brain implant that helped her because she suffered from serious seizures, and it was super helpful. But then the company went out of service, so they had to remove her implant, which is wild. Because that's another thing, right? Like, if the company goes out of service, if
you cast out.
if you can no longer pay the subscription service, or if you lose health insurance and they say, well, we can no longer cover this for you, then what? But it's just, I don't even understand. Like we're just moving so quickly towards this thing that we don't fully understand. We think somehow it's going to benefit society as a whole, when right now it's really benefiting like a small segment of people. We're creating these robots that can be in our homes and like take care of us and do all of these things, but what money do I have? I can't even get freaking like one of those robo vacuums, because they're like,
are you kidding me, girl? I have canceled 2 streaming services. Okay, you know what? Okay, I am debating whether to pay for Chat GPT, because Chat GPT, as I like to call her, she kind of my boo a little bit.
Yeah, it's hard out here. And this leads me to my next story about like why women are not having babies, particularly South Korean women. So
let's get into it.
South Korea has been in the news lately around its tactics to get their citizens married and pushing out babies. As of 2024, South Korea's fertility rate was 0.75, which was a slight increase from 2023's 0.72. Their fertility rate remains the lowest in the world, and it's significantly below the replacement rate of 2.1 needed to maintain a stable population. So they're not even close. They need 2.1 and they're at 0.75.
This is why Kim Jong-un was crying like last year about trying to be like, hey, y'all, like, get together. Like,
yes, both Koreas have issues. So North Korea has their own issues. Now, South Korea, in some districts, the country is offering up to $14,000 for couples who get married. In another district, it's closer to like $38,000. So the government's logic is, if we pay people to get married, then maybe they'll have babies too. But people are not falling for it. A recent Wall Street Journal piece put it perfectly. Even a $14,000 handout isn't enough to get South Koreans to marry. They're saying women are behind this. Women are not just avoiding kids. They're just hoping out of the whole.
They avoiding the men's altogether. Okay, now you even saying this because there's a talk last year about the 4B movement, right? Yeah. And I was like, I need to ask my Korean friend. She's married with kids. I thought that the 4B movement wasn't as popular as what is being made out to be, but maybe it is spreading more than I thought.
It's hard out here, girl.
Like,
so this 4B movement, no marriage, no childbirth, no dating, no sex with men. Like these
no fucking men. Sorry. Sorry. No fucking men. No, just dealing with them as a whole. Okay. Now, I've been to South Korea before and I loved it so much. And it was dope. You know, I totally get it. I totally get it. If American
Yeah.
women were about that life, I feel like we should do that here too.
Yep. And it's expensive, right? Like housing is a fortune.
Housing is very expensive.
Yeah.
The
Childcare is
work
there for tuition, and AI is about to take our jobs. So why are we pumping out babies we can't afford? And look what we're leaving them with.
and the work culture is insane in
It's
certain
insane.
countries. And so women making the smarter decision, because you can have kids, it's not guaranteed that you'll be in a marriage. You'll be in a marriage where there is reciprocity and there's partnership. And so why would you want to take on that? It makes sense. But it all boils down to, I don't care where you are, men are resistant to being better people. That's it. That's it, Soph. Like, you want someone to be tethered to you for life, you gotta be a decent human being, okay?
Mhm.
And I don't know if this man watches our podcast, but I'm just gonna say this, okay? Don't be telling me nothing about submission. Don't be telling me nothing about like men women roles in this fucking economy. It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. Okay, I'm 40 years old who makes sure that my IUD is secure. Okay, ain't nobody popping up on me with kids and then you have to take care of them in this economy. It does not make sense. Women are making very logical choices, even though they like to say that women are more emotional and men are more logical. But the repealing of these laws,
Mm.
even in the United States, it is based off of emotion. Women are looking around and seeing the terrain and seeing how even sometimes when there are two-parent households, a lot of the domestic work still falls on the women. And then
Mhm.
you have to also contribute financially. What is the fucking point? What is the point? Even in studies shown, like, women are more miserable now than they were back in like the 1950s because we have to work now, but then still the domestic responsibilities and the child rearing mostly falls onto the women.
Yeah.
And so there's even a term called married single parent, right? And because you can have a man in the household and still you as the woman are doing all this work, because there's very much 1950s patriarchal standards when we're in a 2025 economy, and
Mhm.
it just doesn't align, it doesn't match up. And
Girl.
so if
You
I
guys-
choose to be with you, a man, I gotta like your ass. You gotta like the man. The dick has to be dicking. He has to bring something else to the table. So if you're not in these single streets, but these men that ask about what do you bring, bitch, what do you bring to the table? What do you bring? Because at the end of the day, if you decide to leave, because the average cost, like the average child support payments in the United States is like $400. What is that? People spend more on Uber Eats.
$400 a week or a
A
month?
month. A month, girl, a month. A month.
But you hear stories of men who like stop working just so they.
Yes, I had a cousin, rest his soul. Okay, who purposely did not work and still find a woman to marry him, by the way. Purposely did not work to avoid paying child support. $400 a month. So single people, that if for one grocery trip for me could be like $150 as a single person in New York City. 4B movement would not work in the United States. South Korea, the ladies are holding it down more than over here. The pick meism is too much ingrained into our society,
Yeah.
where men who have nothing feel that their value is just in being men, and there's laws and things that are happening that are making sure that women are stuck. I don't want to say stuck, but you now have to have these children that you know you can't bring into the world, right? They're lowering the age of consent in certain states. They are having no fault divorces in certain states,
Wow.
right?
Like we care about the babies, but we're doing everything not to take care of the babies.
Like, what good does it do for the babies to grow up in a household that's dysfunctional because their mother can't divorce their father? And then he's going out into the world and now he's harassing, terrorizing the life and the soul of somebody else's daughter. Me out here. Me. People like me. Okay? Just saying.
It's a crazy time to live in.
It's a crazy time. I just say, as a whole, men, a lot of y'all don't have the financial or the life skills. And then you want to marry someone and think they're supposed to be tethered to you because when you get old, you want someone to be there to wipe your ass. You better be prepared, because if you're not a decent person, you will be in a home alone, particularly men, because women, even if you are a single woman, we have community. I have people that check in on me and know if I'm okay, but men, they have a harder time with that. But they like to make us think that, oh, it's us.
Yeah. Men live longer when they're married.
They do. And I would just like to say that the men that have this antiquated thoughts about women and what they're supposed to do in their roles, even though you need 50-50 in this economy, the people that I know that are in relationships, long-term married, it's actually a partnership. It's not, I am man, you're woman, like you gotta do what I say. That's just not how it works in the real world, right? So there's certain areas where you could be the leader, certain areas that person's, but you all work together to make it work. Sometimes you're up, sometimes they're down. Like, that's how it works.
It's a true partnership. I mean, there's some things I won't do, like take out the trash, right? That's one of those.
No, men should do that. Absolutely.
No, but there's like, it is a partnership, right? Like there's a lot of gray areas. Like we just pitch in and do what we got to do. I'm not the people that's like calling out of work like, oh, my kid is sick, right? Like I'm not the only one doing that. I'm not the only one that's like shepherding them all over. Got to get them here and there. Like it's just, I could not imagine working and being that sole person. Like when Junie travels, I'm like, really, man? Come on. I'm so frazzled because I'm like, I have to do all these things.
No, you guys have a true partnership. And to me, if I were ever to, I mean, it's not going to happen in terms of like having a child, but if I were to ever enter into a life with a man, it would have to be a partnership, not this like, it's just, life doesn't work that way. I don't understand the submission part. If we're both paying the bills, if we both work and we both have to come home, it just doesn't make sense to me. But again, I don't understand the mind frame of men, just in terms of some of them, not all of them, but this need to kind of overpower people. And as a whole, I have strong feelings because I believe that men's delusions and their ways are causing this country to crumble as it stands. And so I definitely have strong feelings. And from small things, from Trick Daddy talking about how he won't date women over 35, looking the way he looks.
Girl, I had to look. I was like,
Look, the nerve, because it wasn't even that. Like, if he wants to date women between 22 and 35, sure, cool, that's fine. But then he had other things to say as well, like women over 35 should just settle, and that basically they shouldn't even try when it comes to like looks. Bitch, are you kidding me? Ugh, I could not, because
like, first of all, you're lucky you got like a little bit of money, because this is all a transaction. Like these women out here that are giving you a chance, these 20-year-olds, they're not in it for the looks. They're in it for the pocket. And I'm pretty sure once they realize they ain't as fat as it should be, they're like, okay.
It's the delusions, Soph. It's the delusions for me. Trick Daddy is in our age cohort. So technically, the women that would actually really know who he is would be in our age range. But according to him, we're too old, which is fine. I am very thankful that I'm too old for a Trick Daddy. And then, the man on my TikTok ruling him, oh, he got lupus. Oh, he got lupus. So the fuck what? Toni Braxton got lupus. She looks fabulous. Get the fuck out of my face. Ugh. This man is frying all kinds of catfish and shit and lard and shit. extra mayo in the potato salad, bitch. You are old as fuck.
Girl, you is. Yeah, you
You're old as hell. Girl, you can edit this shit out, okay?
No,
But
I want to leave this in.
you are old as hell. Just, oh, he has the right. What kind of right? I already told you so. I told you any woman that has sex with Trick Daddy, I don't care what age, you have to be so down bad that you got a credit score of 2. A credit score of 2? Dos en español, okay? A credit score of dos, okay? Like, you, what kind of clout? And then if you want to show your face to let people know that you slept with fucking Trick Daddy, it's so, I'm not gonna get Chick Daddy. Just no, absolutely not. I told you about the brown paper bag, the face brown paper bag, the whole body, just crunchy paper bag sex. Okay, put the hole for what could work, and even then, at his age, who knows if it's gonna work? Absolutely not. Chick Daddy looks like a man that does not go to the doctor. He does not have a primary health care physician. He does not have a PhD.
Girl, you are dragging this man.
I am dragging this man and all the delusional men like them, all the men that rolled up on my TikTok when I had something to say, the men that weren't on my TikTok, on my Instagram that had something to say about this man trying to defend him. You want younger women because you believe that younger women don't know any better.
Yeah,
Because
not that. Just say I like young. Like, okay, good
just
for you.
say that. Just
drag
say you like young women because they don't know any better. But an older woman, like, we know the things that happens when this man doesn't go to the doctor.
But
This man has the gout, the diabetes, the lupus.
He got the gout.
I believe he has the gout. He probably got the gout, the diabetes, the lupus, all of that. This man don't go to the doctor. All of them. He would not look this way. And then someone tried to show me a picture of what Trick Daddy looked. Trick Daddy was ugly back then too. But at least he was younger. He's the ugly decrease because he got older. He's not a George Clooney. He's not a, who else is older that looks good? He's not even a Common. Common looks good. Common's in his 40s. Like, you're not a man that like looks good for your age. No.
Moral of the story: like who you like. Don't drag other people while you're spewing your nonsense.
Leave us out the chat, okay? And just be honest. And the thing is, because I recently dated someone who was in their late 40s, who was dating women in their 20s, and it's just like, what for, sir?
You know what for.
Yeah, girl. Sorry for my rant, it's a spike tea. But shout outs to the Korean ladies for holding it down.
Right, that's what we're talking about.
That's how we got here. Shout outs to them, and maybe the 4B movement is more widespread than I thought. Because
maybe
I was thinking Japan. I read it's pretty bad too. Yeah, it's pretty low too. Okay, so shall we move on to shady astrology?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, y'all. It's Aries season. And we have a friend that's an Aries.
My daughter is an Aries. Is that April? Is that through April?
That is March 21st through April 19th.
Belle is April 7th, the same as Shelly.
Oh, our friend Shelly is an Aries, but she doesn't seem like a typical Aries though. Because these aren't like the best qualities. I don't know Aries peoples like that. So I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just going off of my research because I don't know Aries like that. And I don't have a shady Aries man story to tell. So
those are the best.
To do that. All right, y'all. So Aries, the dates are March 21st through April 19th. The symbol is a ram, and they are a fire sign. Notable celebrities: Lady Gaga, Elton John, Eddie Murphy, Mariah Carey, Diana Ross, Halle Bailey, Lil Nas X, and my favorite producer, Pharrell Williams. All right. Good qualities. They're passionate, energetic, courageous, independent, and optimistic. Shady qualities. They're aggressive, impatient, jealous, headstrong, arrogant, and competitive, and hot tempered. Do any of these ring a bell for the Aries that you know?
Competitive.
Okay. My auntie Beck is also an Aries as well, and she's not like this. So, Aries, the human fire alarm. All right, y'all. So, today we are talking about Aries, the zodiac's very own walking, talking adrenaline rush. If you ever met an Aries, you probably didn't meet them as much as they crash into your life like a Red Bull fueled toddler with no regard for safety regulations. All right, shady Aries behavior 101. I'm not mad, all while flipping the table. Aries will swear they don't hold grudges, but baby, they do, just in 5-minute intervals. 1 minute, they're ready to set your car on fire for forgetting their birthday, and the next, they're buying you shots like nothing happened. I don't know. Number 2, ghosting you, but only for revenge. Aries don't ghost because they're avoiding you. Oh no, they ghost to punish you. Didn't text back in 0.3 seconds, blocked, unblocked, then blocked again, just for dramatic effect. I feel that can apply to a lot of zodiac signs.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. I like to block and unblock, and I'm a Capricorn, so you know.
I don't have a lot of people who message me, so I don't be blocking and unblocking.
What? I mean, I don't have a lot of people that message me too, but just in case, I want them to know that they're blocked. And if they care enough, they'll go around the block. But then if you go around the block, I'm like, bitch, you crazy. You should know that you block. Leave me the hell alone. Yes. Another one is lying for the plot. And Aries will tell you they forgot to text you back, but we all know the truth. They saw it, processed it, made eye contact with your message, and chose violence. They'd rather jump off of a moving train than admit that they're wrong. Number 4, they act first and regret never. Aries will make a decision, execute it immediately, then wonder if it was a bad idea. And the answer, always yes. But will they admit it? Absolutely not. At the end of the day, Aries are like that friend you love, but also low key know they need therapy after dealing with. If you have an Aries in your life, just remember keep your exits clear and your energy high and your bail money ready. Aries, are y'all like this? Y'all are rams. Y'all just be ramming about.
I think that one is so off the mark.
Yeah, the Aries I know aren't like that. Maybe I need to know what else is in their chart, but no, the Aries I know are actually like pretty dope, and
Yeah, Bella's pretty sweet. Like yeah, she's competitive, but like she's like such a sweetheart. Like she's
yeah,
not.
Baby Bell's pretty sweet.
Yeah, none of this.
And my auntie Beck, she's an Aries, and my uncle, he's an Aries too, and his wife, she's an Aries, and they're pretty like even killed people. So I don't know about that. I wish I had a shady male Aries story, but I don't.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Don't need all the signs.
What if someone dated like all of the signs?
I'm sure there are people out there who have.
I mean, there's some guys I've dated I didn't really know their signs, so something to think about. All right, y'all. So that's it for shady astrology. Anything else you want to add before we go, Soph?
No, girl, just whew. Sit tight, y'all. Find things that make you happy and focus on that. Stay off the news.
Stay off the news and TikTok.
And TikTok. Just take it in bite sizes.
Yes.
A lot.
Yes. If you like the vibe, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, y'all, deuces.